words said in the aftermath are just too confusing. Now I spend my days watching you throw stones at someone who's already dead. And if this is the way we all begin, so how can I ask for any more?
Before I welcome you to the stages of Minnesota, I want to acknowledge that today's episode is sponsored by Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. More about all of the great theaters and shows there later in the episode. Now, I feel ready to say with little to no inhibitions, welcome to the stages of Minnesota. On this week's episode, we took the show on the road to Winona, Minnesota for the Great River Shakespeare Festival. We have coverage of that event, including some thoughts on the festival from a very special surprise guest blogger. We'll also get a lesson in intimacy coordination from the festival's artistic director, Doug Scholz-Carlson. We have our Minnesota Honest reviews on both Romeo and Juliet and the Comedy of Errors. And as always, a look at who I saw out at the theater this week. All of that is ahead, but first, let me introduce you to the Great River Shakespeare Festival. This quiet college campus could be anywhere in the world, but it isn't. It's in Winona, Minnesota. And while it may seem quiet now, in just a few minutes, it's going to come to life inside of this building. I'm here at Winona State University to cover the Great River Shakespeare Festival. It's a wonderful day, and we're going to be seeing Romeo and Juliet and the Comedy of Errors. And who knows who you'll run into here.
Hey,
Oh!
Terry and Spoon. Hello. I love Great River Shakespeare Festival. This is, I think, my 7th year coming here. So, yeah, the best theater vacay in Minnesota.
And it's my 3rd year, and I'll be back every year. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. 2 shows, 2 great shows. We're going to see them both today. It's going to be a mini marathon theater day.
One of the great things about the Great River Shakespeare Festival are the green shows that precede every performance. 45 minutes before curtain time, audiences gather usually on the lawn next to the theater, where a group of young actors prepare the audience for what they are about to see. First, with samples of Shakespeare's language using excerpts from other plays, and then giving a quick intro to the play that is about to be performed, including handing out these handy little guides to the characters in each play and what their relationships are to each other. I spoke with Gabriella Bolka to get the lowdown on these student performers and what she and her fellow performers are up to this summer at the Great River Shakespeare Festival. What is your name?
I'm Gabriela.
And you're from?
Kraków, Poland.
And how did you end up here?
I'm a part of the University of Tennessee's program, Master in Fine Arts degree with focus on acting performance. And it's a new exciting partnership between Great River Shakespeare Festival and our school.
And do you know how that came about, that partnership?
This was a big dream, a big idea of our head of acting, Katie Cunningham, and she just make it happen.
You guys have your own show that you're putting on, Two Gentlemen of Verona. Who do you play in that?
So I get to play all the fun and exciting parts, which is Speed, Pantino, and Turio. All the clowns except Lons, but all the funny parts, which is very exciting.
And you're part of the Green Show, so tell the audience what the Green Show is.
The Green Show is an opener, if you may call it like that, like on a concert. So this is an opener for the main stage show, and we give excerpts and perform scenes from other shows of Shakespeare in a theme of the show that is playing on any given night.
And it sort of gives the audience a way to start tuning their ear into Shakespeare's speech, right?
Yes, exactly. The idea behind the Green Show is that our audience gets more familiar with the Shakespearean language, and as you said, they can tune their ear for the night full of exciting shows.
One last question for you. What's your favorite character that you've ever performed?
That's a great question. I think it's my most recent part, which is Sandra / Florence Collymore in the play That Goes Wrong at the Clarence Brown Theater.
I love that show. It is hilarious, and I am so nervous for the cast. Somebody's going to get hurt. Did you have the whole set with the falling?
We had everything. We had all the stunts. My stunts were very exciting. I will be honest. I had a lot of bruises, but I came out okay. It was a show that we didn't have to use any understudies, surprisingly, and thank God. It was very exciting. I felt like I got off the leash as a clown, and I found new ways to perform that I didn't expect that I was able to do.
Great. Well, thank you for talking to me. I guess you're going to get started here pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
I Stole a Moment with H. Adam Harris. Hi, we're here with the director of Romeo and Juliet. Tell us about your approach. It was a unique version. I've never seen it told from the sort of the nurse's memory before. Tell us how you came up with that idea.
The prologue is such when Shakespeare writes it that he tells us the story right away. So he tells us exactly what's going to happen. He explains what's going to happen. And so in many ways, the play has always been a memory play. That's what the prologue says. Two households, both alike in dignity. And he goes through that. And so for me, I was really struck by with the nurse. She's a person who's normally comedic and very funny, but I was always really moved by the fact that she has a child who is the same age as Juliet, and that child passes away, and I think all that love transports itself right onto Juliet. And for me, I was really struck by who's the person who undergoes the greatest amount of grief at the loss of that child, and that for me was the nurse. And so that became the lens through which we would see the rest of the play.
You're not in the area anymore. Where are you now?
I'm Artistic and Audience Engagement Associate at South Coast Repertory in Orange County, California. I lived in Minneapolis for 14 years, yay, acting and directing, and it's been a pleasure. And I've been wanting to work at Great River, and they invited me back. They're like, we want to do Romeo and Juliet. What do you want to do? And I was like, how about this? And they were like, yes. And I was like, yay.
And one last question. What is your favorite character that you've ever portrayed?
My favorite character that I've ever portrayed, Malvolio. I played Malvolio, Shakespeare in the Park version of Twelfth Night, and it was pretty amazing.
Now here's someone in the know to give us a rundown of all the happenings at the Great River Shakespeare Festival.
Hi, I'm Aaron Young. I'm the managing director of the Great River Shakespeare Festival.
And tell us about the Great River Shakespeare Festival, like all the activities that are going on around it.
Yeah, so we have 2 plays that are in rotating repertory and a special production from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, doing Two Gentlemen of Verona. So we're doing The Comedy of Errors and Romeo and Juliet. And then on Sunday mornings, we have company conversations. Thursday nights, there are talkbacks after the show. Every Friday and Saturday night, there's an ice cream social following the show, so that we can just constantly interact with the public and get them connected with artists.
What are the best places to eat if people come down from the cities, say, like we do?
Yeah, so there's a lot of wonderful restaurants. Nosh is a great place. Sapori de Sicilia, a Sicilian restaurant, and Heirloom Bistro is great. The River City Grill. There's lots of different options. Either fine dining or fast food.
Yeah, we did the Italian one tonight, and that was pretty good. We were really happy with that one. So, nice. Great. Anything else you can tell people coming down to spend a weekend here?
Yeah, just that there's a lot of things you can do in Winona. Culturally, there's the Minnesota Marine Art Museum, as well as us. The Minnesota Beethoven Festival is happening, but there's also wonderful hiking and opportunities to get out on the river and the lakes. It's just a wonderful community to explore, beautiful architecture. Come and spend a weekend and enjoy.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Before each show, the trio behind the festival shares some very important information with the audience.
The managing director.
I'm Melissa Maxwell, co-associate artistic director.
And we are here to say welcome to the 2025 season of the Great River Shakespeare Festival. So good to see so many of you out at the theater. Thank you for coming. I want to say a special welcome to a couple of guests. We have a couple of bloggers here in the audience from Stages of Minnesota and from Cherry and Spoon. If you love theater in Minnesota, you should be reading these blogs, so welcome. It's good to have you here.
Post The Comedy of Errors, While enjoying a treat from the ice cream social, Jill and I shared some quick thoughts on the show after resolving some technical issues. Oh, sorry. So we just finished a comedy of errors. What'd you think?
It was very funny. Just like a madcap comedy. The opposite of Romeo and Juliet.
Reminded me sort of a Scooby-Doo at times when they're running back and forth and coming out different areas and stuff. It was really kind of wacky.
Very clever how they did the fact that it was 20 characters and 9 actors. They used, buckets and volunteers and masks and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I love all the 80s music and all the 80s references.
And the costumes, shoulder pads and big hair, really fun.
I then got a chance to talk with 2 of the company members. Tell us who you are and who you play.
My name is Michael Fitzpatrick, and I play Aegean and Dr. Pinch and a couple other people.
I really love how you open the Comedy of Errors. You're up on stage and you call Doug back. Where did that idea come from? Was that Doug's or?
We've traditionally done sort of a pre-show to explain the plot. Didn't really need to do that this time, but that serves that thing, and it also lets people figure out how we're doing this with 20 characters with only 9 actors.
Are you surprised you didn't have to play more roles?
No. Oh, no. No, I'm very glad. No, that's enough. We have people in the audience playing roles. We have buckets. We have TVs, so.
Yeah, it's really fun what you do with the Max Headroom thing on the VCR. I see that you're controlling that somehow. Is it an actual videotape or a computer program or what?
I don't know that I'm supposed to tell you.
Yeah, we better keep that a secret. I have one more question for you. What's your favorite role you've ever played?
I've ever played Sir Toby Belch in Twelfth Night. I've done it twice now, and I would love to do it again. Okay. I also loved playing the father, whatever his name is, in Romeo and Juliet.
How many years have you been doing the Shakespeare Festival here?
This Shakespeare Festival, I've been here 20 years. Yeah, and I've worked at other Shakespeare festivals as well, but this one is my 20th year.
Wow, That's an accomplishment. That's great. Well, thank you for talking with me.
Thank you so much.
Will, you got your keys back.
I did.
Good.
Hallelujah.
Good.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
Sorry we put you through that.
Well, I know learned my lesson.
Yeah, well, you got a little rough on Romeo, I know. But so it was great to see you today in the shows. Romeo and Juliet, you don't have a lot to do, but I like the apothecary. That really came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that as I come around the corner, I learned I had to put my hand out first and then move out, because if I just pop out, people would freak out. That's not necessarily the vibe we're going for.
Right. And then, but the real joy today watching you was the Comedy of Errors, where you're playing twins, and you play them differently. I mean, you're not like, these are twins, so they're just in separate places, but acts are the same. They have completely different personalities.
Yeah.
So we in the audience can keep it straight. Tell us about that process.
Well, and I've done this before. What you try to find when it's different people is so often things that you do in common with each other. Things that you can plant that we lift our finger in the air when we say this word, or we do something that. But when you're doing it as one, your actual objective is to find the different ways to be, to be different without also losing some of the authentic truth of various moments, so you can get a little three-dimensionality with the characters. But yeah, that's been a journey, kind of finding the physical life of both of them, and following their arc throughout the day of the play. Yeah.
So tell us about the rehearsal process. Was it very collaborative?
Yeah, you have to build all these different, bits, moments that, hopefully exploit different things in the script, in the text, but you still have to add those into the pot. So, I mean, you really have to know your lines in this version. And I was behind on this, but. Because you're building and trying to learn timing with your scene partner also, and then you don't know what you're supposed to say next, and you're like, dang it, and that messed it all up, know. Once you do a joke, it's funny, but then there's nobody there to laugh throughout the time, so you don't know, does it stay funny?
Right.
It does. Just chill out. And,
Right. That's where an audience comes in
Exactly.
and really reassures
just,
you, okay,
you know,
we
that's
had it
right.
right.
That's right. Yeah. It's a fun little hour-and-a-half adventure. We got a lot. It's a hit.
You were sweating up a storm.
I'm wet everywhere.
Okay, I have one more question for you that I've been asking people. What is your favorite character you've ever played? Doesn't have to be Shakespeare.
It would be Henry IV in the Henriade for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. That was life-changing for me.
Well, that was for us in the audience, that was a once-in-a-generation kind of thing.
Yeah,
right? I
mean, same for the actors.
We loved it. We went, I know my colleague Jill and I, we both went to the marathon day, saw it all at once, and that's the only way to do it.
Yeah. That was definitely by far the best part I've played. I'm Emmanuel in a Lehman trilogy, which is a feat of itself. I mean, it's like a marathon also. We're doing that again, remounting it at Milwaukee Rep. This January will open.
That was such a great show, too. I mean, I love that. I took my oldest son to it, and I wasn't sure, like, ooh, this, and he's like, boy, I feel like I understand finance now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow.
Yeah, it's just such a fascinating thing how people respond to that play on assumption first, but then on experience.
And as an audience member, it's like, ooh, this is a long show. Flies by.
Yeah.
You're like, we were here how long?
Well, thank you. I know this is really a trek to get out here, but
it
we really
is
appreciate it.
worth the trip to come down here. Great River Shakespeare Festival is a fantastic day trip, weekend trip. Winona, Minnesota is beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's lots of fun stuff to check out. So definitely make it down for the Great River Shakespeare Festival. On February 5th of this year, the Minnesota theater community lost one of the greats. Michael Brindisi, who had been the artistic director of Chanhassen Dinner Theaters for over 35 years, passed away 2 days before Grease, his final show as director, opened. Michael may be gone, but his legacy and impact lives on both at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters and here at the Stages of Minnesota. As we touched on last week in my interview with Todd Peterson and Ryan Lee, I credit my first time on stage as a theater blogger as the genesis of this YouTube and podcast version of the Stages of Minnesota. It was after a matinee performance of The Prom out at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. I had led a talkback with Michael and members of the cast. I was quite nervous, but Michael quickly evaporated that with his warmth and encouragement. It will always be one of the highlights of my time as a Twin Cities theater blogger. It seems fitting, given the role they played in its creation, that the first official sponsor of the Stages of Minnesota show is Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. Opened in 1968, Chanhassen Dinner Theaters is the largest professional dinner theater in the country, having served over 13 million guests. Aside from their main stage musicals, the venue also includes the Fireside Theater, which hosts the Chanhassen Dinner Theaters concert series, made up of the best tribute concerts in the Twin Cities and featuring the region's finest musicians. Looking for a laugh? Chanhassen Dinner Theaters has you covered with Stevie Ray's Comedy Cabaret, featuring hilarious improv comedy every Friday and Saturday evening. Now, those venues don't come with dinner, but I always add a dinner. That allows me and my family to make it a full night of great food and entertainment. I look forward to the meal every time. I usually get the herb-crusted prime rib or their world-famous Chanhassen chicken. But of course, the big draw are the main stage musicals, and right now is the best time to pick up tickets for their current and upcoming shows. Playing through October 4th is Michael Brindisi's final show, Grease. Grease is the original nostalgia musical. On the surface, it's a love story between Danny and Sandy, but it's really a love story between the audience and the 1950s. Grease is pure fun, distilled into an idealized version of a simpler time. It's the escapist entertainment that we all need right now. Do yourself a favor and take a trip out to Chanhassen for a rockin' good time. Then, returning this year, after selling out most of the run last year, is Irving Berlin's White Christmas. The production will be a remount of the 2024 show honoring the original direction by Michael Brindisi. As I said, he may be gone, but his creative energy carries on. I attended opening night of that show as well, and I noted in my review that the dancing alone is worth the price of admission. The kicker is this production is really, really good. Brindisi shows that after over 120 productions, he knows just how to stage a show for this theater and its audience. I promise you, even the Scroogiest will come away from Irving Berlin's White Christmas with the holiday spirit. Irving Berlin's White Christmas runs from October 10th through February 7th, and while it may seem strange to be thinking of Christmas in July, you're encouraged to get your tickets now. When I wrote my review in early October last year, I noted at that time every performance from November 1st through the end of December was already sold out. So get your tickets now if you want to see it during the November-December window. But remember, October, January, February, White Christmas is a great show that can be celebrated year-round. Chanhassen Dinner Theater's spaces are also available to host your special occasion, whether it's an anniversary party or a wedding. Add a touch of theater magic to make that occasion special. We'll post a link to Chanhassen Dinner Theaters in the show notes where you can read all about their current and upcoming shows and purchase tickets. And thank you to Chanhassen Dinner Theaters for sponsoring this episode of The Stages of Minnesota. Before heading out from the Great River Shakespeare Festival, Artistic Director Doug Scholz-Carlson talked to us about one of his areas of expertise, intimacy coordination. It's a newish field, but an important one. Okay, so Doug, you are the artistic director of the Great River Shakespeare Festival.
Yep.
But you're also a director, because you directed the Comedy of Errors.
Comedy of Errors, yep, yeah.
And you are a fight coordinator.
Yep.
And you're an intimacy director.
That's right, yeah.
So walk us through one of those jobs.
Oh, gosh, okay. How do we walk through those jobs? They're all so complicated. Which one would you like to start with?
Well, I'm a lover, not a fighter, so let's do an intimacy coordinator, because I don't really understand that position very well.
Yeah, so a lot of what we do is, about consent, making sure everybody's feeling comfortable, and then really we're handling the intimate scenes. Like, we're just trying to figure out how the intimate scenes are going to be played, so we've got good choreography, so we're telling the story well, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So let's pretend we're going to do a scene. Mm-hmm. It's Romeo and Juliet or something.
Yeah.
So you direct me. So.
Okay. All right. So
is that too quick? Okay.
That's a little too quick. Yeah. You're moving it a little too fast. So usually when you're working with an intimacy director, you would have the actors would be separate. So you'd have a director, you'd have an intimacy director. So you're all like everybody is separated, which is part of the deal. Is that then everybody has the chance to talk about what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. Okay. And then you can actually tell the story a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody talks and everything, and then, or is that still too soon?
Well, no, we put in placeholders usually.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How long have you been doing that?
Actually, the field itself is fairly young.
Yeah.
The idea of intimacy direction, it was coined in 2010. A woman named Tonya Sina came up with the term in a graduate thesis paper, and then she was kind of a voice in the wilderness for a long time until the Me Too came along.
Right.
And then all of a sudden when Me Too came along, people started to take it a little bit more seriously. I think after the pandemic, it's really now, like before the pandemic, people were starting to pay attention to what the need for it would be.
Right.
And then after the pandemic, really kind of leapt off. And as with everything, like the pendulum swings one way and the pendulum swings another way, so it swung way out in terms of consent.
Sure.
Now we're trying to sort of find our footing for what is a healthy way to be in the theater rehearsal room, like, and how can we still rehearse in the rehearsal room and everyone can tell these stories well and within their boundaries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's really, the last 5-6 years is really most of the history of when a lot of it's gone on.
And there's been a few things in the news recently, like older actors who that's horrible or whatever. But I don't think that's how most actors feel, particularly younger ones.
No, it's interesting because one of the things about intimacy direction is you're trying to create a room where everyone can bring their full self to the process. And I think in the past culture that we had in the theater, it was very much a yes and culture. And people would say, well, if you can't do that, then you just can't be an actor. So people that, for instance, might have experienced some trauma in their life or might have had, have boundaries and couldn't do that, then people would say, well, you can't be an actor. And you think, it's a terrible way to do theater. We're a collaborative art form.
Yes.
The more voices we have in the room, the more interesting stories we're going to tell. So if we can't accommodate people in the room that have, might have had a traumatic experience around intimacy or something like that, if we can't accommodate those people in the room, then how do we tell interesting stories?
Right.
So what you find sometimes with older actors is they go, well, I don't see the need for it. Everybody's fine. You're right. Everybody who is in this room is fine. How about all the people we kicked out of the room?
Yep.
The other analogy to use is, it's like having an elevator up to your rehearsal space. I don't need it. I can walk up the stairs. I don't need an elevator. But I'm really glad there is an elevator so that when my colleagues who need a wheelchair or can't walk up the stairs, they're actually welcome in the room too.
Right. It's important to be inclusive, and that's what an intimacy coordinator is really doing, is saying, let's be able to bring everybody in. Everybody has a say. Everybody is being respected, and their boundaries are being acknowledged.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's kind of what we do.
thanks, Doug.
Yes. And now, now we're all good. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Good. Yeah.
Whether it moves me to cheers or tears, puts me to sleep or gets me up on my feet. These are my Minnesota Honest Reviews. Truthful, but not hurtful. You've heard all about the Great River Shakespeare Festival now, and had little glimpses of what I thought about this year's productions. But now it's time for my Minnesota Honest Reviews. Romeo and Juliet is the real surprise this season. Director H. Adam Harris has taken an approach I've never seen before in staging the play as a memory play from the point of view of Juliet's nurse. It really works. It doesn't dramatically alter the play, but it does add another undercurrent of loss. That may not sound like what you want in a tragedy, but whenever we find new things to play in Shakespeare, it's exciting. The concept is aided by some well-designed lighting cues by Avery Reagan. They aren't overused, but periodically the lighting changes and the action freezes around the nurse. In this way, the focus shifts to her, and we see the story from her perspective. It colors the story in a slightly different way. The nurse is played by Stephanie Lambourne, who brings out this new dimension in the character that feels fresh and original, while still feeling faithful. As the young lovers, Alessandro Yokoyama as Romeo and Serena Phillip as Juliet are terrific, with a great command of the language and an ability to make the immature decisions of the characters not feel juvenile, by bringing to the forefront the emotions they are battling. It's one of the best productions of one of the most produced plays of Shakespeare's that I've seen. The Comedy of Errors is one of Shakespeare's silliest comedies, and that is absolutely what director Doug Scholz-Carlson leans into with this production. Audience members might not be as familiar with this play, and that's okay. This is simply meant as an entertainment, and for a play written over 400 years ago, it's astonishing how funny it is. Of course, a lot of making a play like this work is what the actors and director bring to it. The plot is rather confusing, while also being sort of simple. There are two sets of twins, one the masters, the other the servants, who were separated when they were young during a shipwreck. As adults, they end up in the same city, and a series of mistaken identities occurs. That's basically all you need to know. The tricky part is keeping everyone straight throughout the play, and who was mistaken whom for who, when, and okay, now I'm confused again. Really, the plot doesn't matter, and you won't have any real trouble following it. The joy of this production is the way the actors play the roles, the clowning they do, and the ingenious ways in which they present a play with about 20 characters using only 9 actors. The best part of the show is the way in which Will Sturtevant and Emily Fury Daly take on the challenge of playing dual roles of the two sets of twins. I can't give anything away, but how they manage to have the twins meet at the same time on stage is really ingenious. It's Shakespeare by way of Scooby-Doo. set in the 1980s with great musical cues throughout by sound designer Matthew Tibbs, and Lonnie Rafael Alcarez as lighting designer is an asset, adding some wonderfully wacky lighting effects. A shout out is due to costume designer John Merritt for his work on both productions. There is a third production of Two Gentlemen of Verona that will have 4 performances around the region. It is being staged by the Graduate Acting Company of the Clarence Brown Theater and the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, who, as we saw, are in residence at the Great River Shakespeare Festival this summer. This cohort of young professional actors act as understudies for the roles in The Comedy of Errors and Romeo and Juliet, while studying with the company and professors from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. They will also be presenting the festival's green shows, which we covered earlier in the show. If you're heading to the festival for the first time, I highly recommend planning to attend the green shows. They act as a way for the audience to tune into Shakespeare's language before the shows and also give them a quick rundown of the characters and their relationships and roles in the plays. It's a great way to make sure you're prepared to get the most out of each production, and I never miss them. The Great River Shakespeare Festival runs through July 27th in Winona, Minnesota. If you haven't been yet, it takes just over 2 hours to reach from the cities. There's lots to do and some fun places to eat. We always make a 2-day trip out of it and have a fantastic time. We'll link to the festival's website in the show notes. I also want to encourage you to visit the blog Cherry and Spoon of my colleague Jill, who joined me at the Great River Shakespeare Festival last weekend and joined in the Stages of Minnesota Fun. We'll have a link to Cherry and Spoon in the show notes so you can check out her reviews of the Great River Shakespeare Festival productions and others.
Do I really have to go? Hard pressed to find a reason to brave the cold. So warm inside your cabin, give me just another moment. Wrapped inside the blanket of your body, the blanket of your body. Time to hit the open road. Loving arms await me, their domain knows me alone. Never a single question, 35 years full of holiday cheer, and still no invitation for my +1.
That's it for this week. I want to thank everyone at the Great River Shakespeare Festival for talking with us and for bringing Shakespeare to such vibrant life. I also want to thank Chanhassen Dinner Theaters for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to get your tickets to Greece before it closes, and grab those white Christmas tickets now so you don't end up out in the cold this winter. It seems like a long time away, as it's been so hot here in the Twin Cities, but thankfully, I have my Stages of Minnesota fan to keep me cool. I try to have a few of these with me when I'm out at shows, so if you see me and are feeling warm, don't be shy, say hi. Let's get a picture so you can appear on the Stages of Minnesota and get you a fan to help you cool down. I'll also have these with me at the upcoming Minnesota Fringe Festival, so be sure to find me there to get your fan and to tell me what your favorite shows of the festival are, or if you're an artist, what shows you're in. If you have comments, questions, suggestions, and topics you'd like to see covered, or if you want to be cool like the Chanhassen Dinner Theaters and sponsor an episode, you can email me at robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. Thanks as always to Ryan Lee for the generous use of his music. Every note of music used on the Stages of Minnesota comes from his albums, which you can find at ryanlee.bandcamp.com. Thanks as well to Jill Schaefer of Cherry and Spoon for being on the show and for even shooting some of the footage, but most of all for introducing me to the Great River Shakespeare Festival. You can read all of my reviews on my blog at thestagesofmn.com. And finally, a very special thank you to the Stages of Minnesota's biggest supporter. This is my living room. This is my dining room table. And this is the most patient and supportive wife in the world. Mrs. The Stages of Minnesota, or Mickey for short, puts up with having her house turned into a video studio and editing suite on a weekly basis. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. These fans are her and our daughter Savannah's handiwork. Most of the camera work in Winona is hers. She even did all of the driving so I could work on writing and editing on the way down and back from Winona. Because none of us ever say it enough. Thank you, and I love you. If you enjoyed the show, please help spread the word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review the show. It feels great, and it's good for you. Those subscriptions are free. I'm running a half-off sale throughout the month of July, so you can get one anytime this month for whatever half of nothing is. Until next week, as Carol Jackson wrote on the wall of the Bryant Lake Bowl and Theater bathroom, for a good time, go see a show. And hey, stay cool.
It's all over but the shouting. Every soul needs light, but mine's been wasting away in the afternoon shade, out of sight. And I am not the pure and perfect one, but my branches are still bent toward the sun.